Oh, that angle is perfect. I wish I could get that angle every time. Hmm. Kid James, you are so early. Hello. Oh, and there's somebody else in there. Welcome. Good morning. Hello, is it Cloud? Cloudless? Word up. Well, I'm glad you caught this one. I'm sorry you missed the past few, but I'm still here. This is my first stream I've watched, but so far I've been watching the others a lot lately. Oh, like you watch them after they're over? Hello. Kaido arts, whoa. How you been? That song's called Reflection Pool. It was named by Kit James, who's here today. Good morning, Kit. Oh, it's Mushroom in here. How's everybody's Tuesday going? Oh, you shouldn't be mad at yourself. How many did you miss of the streams? Yes, for the person who said it, this is Coliseum. Good ear on you. I usually don't play Coliseum in the stream. I had to relearn it yesterday. And I guess now I'm back on playing it. Or at least some weird live orientation of it. Somebody says they can barely hear a thing. Is the phone too far away from me? I'm sorry. Last stream is a vibey album. Put that mixtape together throughout the entirety of 2017, I believe. Playing through Bioshock Infinite. Oh. That was a good game. How many times have you played through it now? Oh, it's your first time. Well, I hope you're enjoying it so far. Yeah, it is a pretty different vibe. At first, I'll be honest, I didn't like it for that reason. I kind of didn't want to leave Rapture, but there's definitely some cool things to offer from that game. That game has a lot to offer. I ended up playing Coliseum again somehow. I mean, do you remember how to play Sugar Glider? This don't seems to be an easy song to play. Interesting, Mushroom Tea. It is not an easy song to play. However, it's not a piano song. There is no piano version of that song. Um, there are parts of that song that, like when I play it live, for example, I'll play the lead over it. Like that part. Also, I'll play the middle section, but a lot of this without context, without the context of the chords, doesn't make a lot of sense. I've thought about arranging an acoustic version of Sugar Glider, actually, to play maybe in streams. But the thing, Mushroom Tea, is that song's just so old. That song's 5 years old now. And I feel like a lot of the people that are getting into my music now wouldn't really benefit from it. You know, they wouldn't even recognize it. Playing things like Coliseum has a little bit more relevance over my career now, but it is is a pretty difficult song, but now I can still play it because I have to play it live sometimes when I put it in my live sets for shows. But there just isn't like an acoustic stream version of that song, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. Hmm. Good morning, Cause. There's actually very few songs, Mushroom Tea, from the Nice Dream era, as I'm going to refer to it from this point forward, that I play regularly acoustic. The most popular song from that EP is a song called Bon Bon. So because of that, I developed like an acoustic version of Bon Bon that I play sometimes. But outside of Bon Bon, not really any of the others. Oh, is it gloomy cause? It was gloomy here in LA for a while, but it finally went away. Oh, missing the stream for class? That's okay though, that's respectable. And I'm glad you're able to stop by. I hope you enjoy the rest of your morning and your class. Yeah, thanks for coming in. Oh, I guess either I never knew you lived in Florida, cause, or I forgot. I hope the gloom alleviates itself soon, if that is indeed what you want. If that is indeed what you want. This song is called Double Lutz. Oh, glad to have you back, Umbe. I'm still grinding, indeed, Umbe. But I didn't what? Sorry, I didn't finish the question. That I don't like. That's a good question. I'll answer it after this song. Sorry. Do I have any songs I made that I do not like? Asks Mushroom Tea. Well, a song is not something you make as quickly as you would make, say, a sandwich. It's a very involved process, Mushroom Tea. It takes um, hours, weeks, months, years sometimes to make a song. And so it's hard to spend that much time with something that, one, either you don't like, or it's hard to spend that much time with something and then end up not liking it. For example, Mushroom Tea, if I start out making a song that sounds like this, if I'm playing something like that and I don't like it, Mushroom Tea, I simply don't finish it. For me to finish a song, for me to stay focused and dedicated to something, I have to be enjoying it. And so it's hard for me to have a song that's a finished product and go, oh, I did not like this. I do not like this. This was unenjoyable because it's just so much time and effort, right? It would be like driving all the way from California to Florida and then realizing like, oh, I didn't want to be in Florida at all. You know, it's a really long process, so it's hard to to dedicate the time and energy and sometimes money into something you don't like. So I wouldn't say that I have created any songs that I haven't liked, Mushroom Tea, but I would say I've started creating songs and ended up not liking them halfway through and then stopping. I never got to the point of completion. I never finished the song and I never released the song. But I have worked on things that I didn't enjoy and then I simply stopped working on them halfway through or changed them into something that I did enjoy. Never forget that you can always change a project, you know. It can always morph and evolve maybe into something that you enjoy or gain more fulfillment from. It's a good question though, Mushroom Tea. Hello, Cyber. I see you're in here now. Four. That's weird. Whoa, I was in Cyber's dream space. What else is going on in there, Cyber? Is that the right chord? also. About the sound not just staying the same. Did you ever finish a song and a short time later you heard it and ended up not liking it? I think I explained it better now. Oh. No. I think I develop a really strong connection with my songs when I'm making them, so it's very hard for me to turn around on a song and go, like, I don't like that anymore. Um, it's like a mother with her babies. Like I feel like even if they are flawed in a way, it's very hard for me to dislike my own songs. What's the word? I associate too closely with them. I see myself when I look at them. Some of them, depending on how old they are. Unbelievable Beer says, have I ever listened to one of my old songs and liked it more? I would say that my old songs, I've maybe not liked them more, but I've developed a stronger appreciation for them. And welcome to the stream, Leanne. I didn't see you come in. Hi. I would say that I've developed a stronger relationship with them. These are really good questions. Thank you, Mushroom Tea and Noonbay. Somebody says this pineapple won't belong on pizza. If you put it on there, really, you can put whatever you want on pizza. If you're eating it, it's really not up to me what belongs on it. If it's going in your mouth, I can't really judge you for it. Is that easy? Oh, wow, that's weird. I have not seen anybody come in. I'm constantly surprised every single time somebody makes a comment. But back to the subject on songs you've made and liking them and developing a relationship with them. All of my songs off of Nice Dream, right? Bon Bon and stuff like that. I don't really relate to them very closely anymore, right? Because I feel like the person that made them is so much younger and different than I am now that I couldn't make that. Like, I don't think in those same patterns. I don't think in those same patterns that I did in like 2015 or in 2014. It was a little bit different. And so I feel like now when I listen to those songs or when I perform those songs more accurately, because I don't really listen to Bon Bon or Sugar Glider in my spare time, but I do still perform them sometimes at shows. And I feel like when I'm playing them, when I'm listening to them while I'm playing them, I have a different appreciation for them because I can see the things that I was trying to do and the way that I was trying to accomplish it is different. Ava says, I like pineapple and chorizo on pizza because I'm a monster. I don't know if that makes you a monster. I feel like people like to ask the does pineapple belong on pizza question because it can be very divisive for a lot of people. But I think a lot of people are forgetting that the main people that are making that argument don't really have a leg to stand on when it comes to a pizza argument. I don't think anybody can really say what belongs on pizzas, especially not an American person, since we don't really have a lot of authority over Italian food. I don't know. Maybe an American can say, oh, sorry, it's just a street sweeper. Americans can probably have a little bit of authority on what should and shouldn't go on American foods, but I think that people getting like particularly uppity about pizza, especially when they're not like Italian or from Italy or the person who invented pizza. It's kind of silly. Put whatever you want on the pizza. I, for example, am very, very boring when it comes to pizza toppings. I only ever order pepperoni pizza. Occasionally, I'll get like something like a secondary topping. I've gotten like green peppers before, or I've gotten sausage and pepperoni. Or if somebody orders like a supreme pizza, like the big, where it's like mushrooms, peppers, and everything on it, I'll eat that anyway because I'm like whatever. But if I'm in control of the pizza order, it's just gonna be pepperoni for me. And so, I don't know. I don't know. It's just a circle. It's just a circle of bread sauce and cheese. Really, at that point, put whatever you want on it. Who cares? Um, Pineapple on pizza is fine. Decrease Ava. I don't 25% Italian? That's a pretty high Italian percentage, I suppose. Italian percentile. I love extra cheese, sausage, and pesto on mine, so it's kind of interesting. I've never had pesto on. Obviously, I'm more of like a basic pizza person, but pesto. I think it's been years since I've had pesto. Period. Oh, I love that chord. Beautiful. Oh, sorry, I got distracted again because I think that isn't a song that I've played before. First stream I've joined live was good, says Sam. Hi, Sam. Um, what's good? The weather is really good, Sam. Yesterday I went to the beach. Didn't really take much photos or document much of it, but it was rather nice. Today looks like another good one. I got into pesto on pizza recently too, says Cause. Yes, it is a food topic again. Pesto pizza is Leanna's favorite to make. I didn't know Leanna could make a pizza. I'm learning something new about Leanna every day. Guys, this song is called Into Thin Air. Hello, Jelly Star. How are you? I had a pizza battle with my English teacher back in high school and won. Was your English teacher a pizza chef? That's the weirdest sentence I've seen in a while. Interesting. Hope you and everyone else as well. I'm good. I hope everyone else as well. As well? I hope everyone else as well too. Are pizza battles off like common? You're saying it like it's a thing, like it's a dance battle or a rap battle. I would like to know where these pizza battles are happening so I can volunteer to judge. What? Sorry. Cause said their families had a pizza battle? Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I've just been living under a rock all this time. It's called Into the Air. It's about planes. Did I get pizza yesterday, like I mentioned? I didn't, because I ended up going to Santa Monica instead of the Arts District. The day was kind of all over the place. I ended up eating. Hmm. Before I left the house, I ate a very big breakfast, which was very nice. I don't remember what I ate, but I don't remember it being very good. Wait, oh, I did eat pizza. I had Blaze pizza. It's just that on Tuesdays, usually I go to Pizzanista. I didn't have Pizzanista. I had Blaze pizza. I had leftovers. But pizza, as they say, is pizza. This song is called Spring Street. Yo, I saw a thing on Twitter that Little Caesars is starting to do delivery, and I don't know how to feel. That might be dangerous. Yeah, exactly, right, Jelly? I feel like delivery charges would defeat the purpose of anybody really eating Little Caesars, which is affordability. But we'll see. Oh, for sure, Cyber. That's for sure what's going on here. People really don't want to leave their homes. Dang, I haven't been to San Antonio in years. Something I kind of don't like as a musician is I do get to travel a lot, which is nice, but I feel like I kind of only go to the cool places, which sounds. When I say cool, I mostly mean popular, right? Like I might get to travel to Japan, but I'm only gonna see like dope Japan spots. I'm not really gonna go to small towns, which there's a reason why I actually don't want to go to small towns in Japan. So maybe that's a bad example. But for the country, the United States, I kind of am just like in California, Florida, Washington, New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, DC. I don't really go anywhere else. I don't really get to go to like Cleveland or whatever. Or San Antonio. Every time I go to Texas, it's usually to go to Austin. When I was in Japan, I just went to the Narita airport a few hours before my flight and checked my bags early. What? Wowee. Okay, so I got to do a little bit more exploring than that, but. Jeez, you stay in the airport. It's a really nice airport, though. It's maybe one of the nicer airports I've been to. But I think that has more to do with the city itself than it does with the airport. How many songs did you have released when you decided to do your first show? Wow, that's a good question. Give me a second, because I only wrote the bridge of this song Spring Street. So the question, to get back to the question, somebody asked, I think it was Mushroom T said, how many songs did you have finished before you played your first show? That's a hard song. That's a hard question to answer because I think it has about five answers, and I'll explain why. So the first performance, I should say, I ever played, I was playing bass guitar in a band called Lyra. They were like a indie rock band, and I had joined the band because they needed to fill in basses because their current bassist had moved to another state. So I learned all their songs and I performed with them. Now, this was my first show, and I have pictures of it, and I have a flyer from it as kind of like Omni's first performance. But none of those songs were, in essence, mine. Um, so I had some songs finished, like Omni Boy songs, but they weren't released to any degree. They were just songs that were living on my computer. So I don't think you mean that show. So that's one answer, which is, I'm sure, not the answer you were looking for. My first Omni Boy show now happened as a kind of DJ set. I had made a DJ set because I had begged for a show. They told me I was going to be performing for an hour, which is standard for DJs. And when I got the show, I did not have an hour's worth of music. So what I did is I think when I got that show, I might have had, I can't remember. I can't remember exactly the number amount, but let's just say not an hour's worth. So let's say I had 5 or 6 songs released, 5 or 6 songs that people in the public could listen to. That's all I had. And so when they told me I was going to be, sorry, the birds were cutting up. Anyways, when they told me I was going to be performing for an hour, I kind of panicked, and I was like, okay, I need to make an hour's worth of music. So I did. Was it an hour's worth of released music? No. Was it an hour's worth of original music? No. It was a lot of remixes. I did remixes to kind of fill in time, and I even put some of my chiptune stuff in there to fill some time. But when I performed my first show, I would say as Omni Boy, since I was performing as Omni Boy, I had a few remixes out, maybe 5 or so remixes, but original songs, maybe 6, somewhere under 10. Now, I had tons of songs, but you, in your question, specified on released music. I didn't have a lot of released music. Um, I should say I just didn't have a lot of... Now I feel like people care a lot about branding, right? People care a lot about, oh, is the album art cool? What's your theme? What kind of colors are we working with here? What are people supposed to take away from looking at some of your art or listening to some of your songs? I didn't have that back then. I didn't even have consistency. All my songs sounded different. This one was chiptune, this one was drum and bass, this one was a house record, and it was kind of, some could say that didn't necessarily change. I'm still doing that, but at the time it was very unorganized, and also the songs weren't very big. I did not get that show based on how popular I was as an artist. I got that show based on how hardworking I was as a self-promoter. I just kind of kept going to this one club called Barsmith in Arizona, and I just kept begging them for a show. Because they had shows every Friday night. There was this thing called Sticky Fingers, and I kept asking to open. I was like, I'll just open, I'll play first. Just give me a chance, give me a shot. And I kept asking for about a year. It was 10 months to a year. And then they're like, all right, you're up. And you're going to be playing for an hour. And I was like, what? I just didn't know anything about DJing, so I didn't know that you have to play for an entire hour. And since I'm not a traditional DJ, I don't play other people's music. So when they said you have to play for an hour, in my head I was like, okay, I need an hour's worth of music, and I only have 6 or so songs. So I need to go home and make a lot of music in roughly 2 weeks. That said, I hope I answered your question. I gave about 5 answers, and I hope one of them was satisfactory. Good question, though. Mushroom Tea, I think, is who asked that question. This song is called Love Letters. Morning. Haven't been on the streams. I have a 9 a.m. class every day. Oh my god, that's so unfortunate. I'm so sorry that I streamed then at this time. How inconvenient. I was just wondering a good mindset to get into to start trying to get out there. Says Unbe. Yeah, it was Unbe. Okay, so Unbe, I'm glad you're asking these questions. But at the end of the day, nothing matters, right? People get shows that have no music out at all, and people will have 5 albums out and have never performed in their life and not want to. So I'm glad that you're seeking knowledge. That is what's important, most important, maybe. Important thing number one. But important thing number two is just know that there's no one way to do it. Feel empowered with whatever way you feel comfortable proceeding to get a show. Maybe you're not going to be performing a DJ set on Babe Leader, and therefore not withholden to the rules of a DJ set, which is you're going to have to be performing in a DJ booth for roughly 60 minutes. Um, but yeah, that was my specific personal experience as far as getting shows and releasing music. It's so funny to think about. Sometimes thinking back on that, when I remember the inner panic, because I remember seeing. I didn't really go to electronic shows that often, and when I did, there was a lot of DJs, not a lot of producers, and so people like Calvin Harris, people like I don't know, Zed or Porter Robinson, stuff like that. I was like, these people perform, and they have a lot of music I like, but I would never see them because I lived in like a smaller area of Arizona where no real big DJs were coming through. So when the guy who gave me the show, Tommy, told me it was going to be an hour-long set, I told him, "Oh, that's cool. Thank you. Thanks so much for the opportunity." But in my head, I was like, an hour, because I came from playing with bands, and in my pop punk band and in my indie rock band and my synth pop band, all those bands, we would maybe have like a 30 to 35 minute set, 40 minutes maybe if like they were being extra generous, or maybe we were the headliner or something. But performing for an hour non-stop with no talking in between was unheard of for me. And I remember feeling that panic of, crap, Ami, you have to make an hour's worth of music. This is gonna be horrendous. Yeah, it was 4 hours, Leanna. It was 4 hours. But I was like, this is gonna be horrendous. And I like to take that same emotion and that experience and kind of superimpose it over today, where now sometimes people will give me a set that's an hour and a half or 2 hours, and instead of like, what am I gonna play, I have this kind of mindset of like, what am I gonna be able to fit into this set, because I have so much music to pull from now. For example, for the thing last Friday, the San Holo thing in downtown, I only performed for 45 minutes. And when I got that 45-minute set, I was like, okay, what songs can I even fit in here? And I always make a list, and then you like time it out. I don't know how you guys, if you do sets, how you time out your sets. But what I'll do is because I'm janky, I'll just take all my songs that are on the list and put them up like, I'll put them up end to end in FL Studio, and then I'll give like an extra 2 minutes for transitions, and then I'm like, okay, that's how long it is. And every single time I do it without fail, I'm like, here are the songs I would like to play. I would like to play maybe Bon Bon, Sugar Glider, Midnight Drift 2, something off of Speed Dream, and then I want to calm everybody down by playing maybe Sleep In, or maybe it's another good song off of Bus Dream to play Coliseum. And then I'll try to ramp things back up again with like some Daydream tracks. I'll play some like drum and bass. And then like I'll close out with maybe one of my hip hop remixes. Maybe I'll play a Gucci Gang remix, or maybe I'll play one of my new remixes, like the Talk remix I just made, or the Justin Bieber remix I just made a couple of days ago. And then I time it out in free loops, and I'm like, oh cool, my set is now 2 hours and 15 minutes. And then I have to like start shaving off songs and being like, oh, I kind of really wanted to play that, or I'm only gonna play half of this song now. I just have too much music now at this point. It's impossible. It's impossible. But again, I'm not a DJ, so it's an important thing to note. Goodbye, Kid James. Thank you for being on the stream, and also thank you always for your contribution on Reflection Pool. I am doing good. I'm doing good, Party Man. Am I reading that right? Does that say Party Man? I hope. Yeah, just too much music. But the one thing I do like about Omni, could I recommend a guy from my country that produces music? He produces music joking better than... Sorry. Better than much people and make serious and for many different genres. Yeah, you can recommend to me whatever you want, Mushroom Tea. I'm always open. I figured the best moves as Umbe first would be to work on some kind of discography just to make it easier for my future self. You're not wrong, Umbe. You're not wrong. I will say, a lot of times I have complaints about having so many songs, and my prime complaint about having so many songs is often people will come into a stream and they'll say, Omni, 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 can you play blank? And I'll either not remember blank, or I'll remember it and have not played it in maybe 2 years, so I don't know it. Yesterday, somebody requested that I play Coliseum, which came out in 2018? What? Guys, help me. When did Lushroom come out? Did it come out in 2018? Or was it 2017? My brain feels like it was 2017, but my heart feels like it was 2018. 2018. Thank you, Party Man. Thank you. Then what the heck did I release in 2017? Just remixes? That can't be true. It can't be true. Anyways, if it was 2018, yeah, so 2 years ago I released Coliseum, and I didn't know how to play it. I had to have somebody come into the stream and request it. Then I actually went over to my computer live in the stream, and I had to relearn the chords. But having too many songs sometimes can be annoying because you just forget them. There's no way you can remember them all off the top of your head. If somebody shouted out a song right now, there is about a 40% chance that I can play it. A whole 60 to 70% of my discography is music that either is unplayable on piano, or I just don't play regularly enough to remember it, or I've never played it live. It's just been something that lived on the computer. Something like Bumblebee is a song that I never played on the piano. It was only made on a laptop. And so that's one thing that kind of sucks about having too many songs. But the benefit of having too many songs is I'm very, very versatile. So if I'm playing a show with like a lot of hip hop people, I can play a lot of like lush stream stuff and like the beats that I have in my hip hop remixes to kind of fit in. If I'm playing a show with like more like hyper up tempo electronic acts, I can play stuff off of Speed Dream or even Daydream, which is like a faster tempo. And then if I'm playing like a poppy show, Nice Dream and Love Dream are there. There's a wider deck to pull from, which is really nice when it comes to trying to make yourself a little bit more flexible, especially if you're not a DJ, because DJs obviously, if they're playing one type of event, can kind of play one type of music, and if they're playing a different type of event, can build a library of that type of music to kind of fit in. Nobody necessarily wants to, in a show, hear somebody playing like neo soul music at 95 to 100 BPM, and then jump to somebody that's going to be playing like break beats and like drum and bass that's 170, 180. This is just food for thought at this point, okay? Because I don't know what your music sounds like, and I don't know necessarily what your goals are in music, but there's always a pro and con to everything. Having too little music and having too much music, there's things to be gained and lost. Party Man says, I wondered if you've ever heard of the OP1. Do you think it's a good tool? Variety is the spice of life. Thank you for that, Sniper. Do I think the OP1 is a good tool? Yes. I have heard of the OP1. Yes, I have played the OP1. Teenage Engineering makes a lot of really cool stuff. Now, what I'm about to say is like, as me, it's Omni. You're talking to me. This is not some official review. This is just my personal feelings for it. The OP1 is about this big. So here's my Yamaha Reface CP. It is very small. As you can see, even the keys themselves are about the length of my fingers. Not, I don't know what I can do for reference to let you know that these keys are small. If you can't tell just from looking, I am sorry, but this is a very small keyboard, and the keys themselves are shrunk, which makes it a little annoying sometimes to play live because I have a keyboard that has full-size keys. When that's small keys, it's a weird mental and physical transition when playing them simultaneously or consecutively. Just a lot of words coming out of my face. Anyways, this is a pretty small keyboard. I would say that this is on the limit of size that I will go down to. It can't get much smaller than this. Now, if you are familiar with and have seen, played, or heard the sounds of the OP1, maybe you're aware of how small it is. It's very small, maybe this big, little white rectangle. Also doesn't have keys in a traditional sense that are lifted. It has buttons that are in the same layout for sure as a keyboard, but they are at the end of the day buttons with no real velocity sensitivity. So, is the OP1 a good tool? Yes, it's a good tool. I think anything is a good tool. I don't know if you saw my most recent video, but there's a point in the video where I take my car keys and I'm tossing them for percussion, which is not unheard of, but it is not a musical instrument. They are car keys, and so I think anything is a good tool. Your voice is a good tool. A field recorder is a good tool. A banjo, the musical instrument, is a good tool. A triangle is a good tool. Anything that you can derive some type of good sound out of is a good tool. And I personally think you can derive good sound out of anything that vibrates. So, is the OP1 a good tool? Yes. Now, the OP1 is small and it is not cheap. I'm sure you're familiar also with the price point on the OP1. I'm not going to say it in this stream, but it is very expensive. It is over $800 when all things are said and done. And so, for me personally, I don't think the OP1 is worth the money that it costs. I think it is fun to mess around with, and I think you can get a lot of really good sounds out of it. But I think for me, again, Omni, personally, I can do the things the OP1 can do for less money. And I just don't have $1,000 to throw around like that all the time. And so a lot of times when I look at a piece of gear, whether it's a synthesizer or a keyboard, or even if it's not musical, if it's a car or if it's a frying pan, I always look at the things that are expensive and I say to myself, why is it expensive? And then somebody will give me the bullet points. Well, it's expensive because it's made out of ceramic and it's non-stick. Or it's expensive because it's wireless. Or it's expensive because it has an LCD display. And I'll say, okay, do I need that thing? Maybe I do need that thing. Maybe I do need it to be a non-stick pan. Maybe I do need the LCD display. Maybe I do need it to be wireless because I'm moving around the stage. And then I ask myself, can I do that thing for cheaper though? Can I get a non-stick pan for cheaper? Can I get a wireless setup for cheaper? Can I get the information to myself, not buy an LCD display, for cheaper? And for the OP1, everything that it does, I can do for cheaper. And so I don't have one for that reason. But is it a good tool? Absolutely. It's a very good tool. And the company that makes it, Teenage Engineering, they also make these little things called pocket operators, which is kind of like a little modular synth. Very cool. They make a lot of very cool, forward-thinking technology, kind of like gearhead stuff. And I appreciate them for doing that. Because a lot of that stuff is really fun to play around with. It just, unfortunately for me and my path, it's not smart for me to purchase it. Unless I'm just kind of, Mr. Dollars and I'm trying to throw away money. Umbe says, you're definitely one of the people that I use as reference a lot. I don't tend to stick in one genre either, so it's nice to hear another artist who floats around. That's something. There's a game company that makes mobile games, and their splash screen, when you turn it on, it sounds like that. What a beautiful sound. It's definitely that. Because even when you play it up like that, it sounds weird. That's cool. Wow, I lost my train of thought. Sorry. Good question, though. Good question. Good question. Okay, we are rounding out the hour, everybody, so let's go over some news. I have 2 new albums out. We actually talked about them in the stream. I don't know if you were paying attention, but we did talk about them pretty early on. It's the audio equivalent of a question mark. Good ear, Cyber. Oh, Cyber, we have to, really do a stream that's focused on how the brain that isn't trained, views and translates information. I was actually talking about with my roommate yesterday about 60 frames per second and how somebody that isn't an animator, that doesn't really know what frames per second even means or anything about animation, how we receive 60 frames per second, especially in like cartoons, as being kind of unsettling, um, and for what reason that might be. But yeah, I can definitely hear the question mark in that cyber, and that's so weird. That's so weird that we can hear something as certain and as familiar as a question and something as abstract as sound. Like just notes, right? Very, very weird. Very weird. Maybe once the stream turns 100 and we go forward from 100, maybe we'll have more in-depth conversations like that. But for right now, I do need to say I have two new albums out. One is called Quick Bread, and one is called Ego Death. They're my two newest Dilly Dads. You can find them on Bandcamp, Spotify, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, Apple Music, iTunes, Google Play Music, Amazon MP3, Tidal Groove, Deezer, Pandora, Napster, and YouTube. Also, I'm releasing merch this year. As far as shows, the last show that happened was the pop up thing at in Little Tokyo with San Homa. I'm gonna probably be posting photos from that on my Instagram today because I haven't taken a photo of myself in a while because I don't like doing that. So I kind of rely on events and publicly taken photos to supply my Instagram feed. So there will be photos from that. As far as new shows, there are talks about some shows, but I'm unfortunately not at liberty to talk about them yet because they haven't been finalized. And nothing feels worse than announcing a show that doesn't happen. But there will be new shows. The sky is so blue today, guys. It's... Hold on. This is wild. It's like fake. Like, not one cloud? Anyways. Those birds are kicking it, too. Birds are extra noisy today. Oops, sorry. Okay. Merch is coming. As far as shows, I'll let you know when the shows are announced. Streams. So we are in the 60s, guys. We made it to the 60s. Congratulations. The 60s and the 20s. We are marching closer, ever closer to stream number 100 when we do make a few small but concise changes. But the stream does happen here every weekday morning at 9 a.m. I want to thank everybody for making the time for it. Every single time I stream, I feel like I see a little bit more faith in me from the people, where people are showing up at like the actual 9 o'clock mark. I feel like people would show up at usually around 9:30. From 9 to 9:30, I was kind of usually only playing to like Jelly and Cyber, maybe Leanna. But now I'm noticing like the people are coming in at the top of the hour, so I appreciate that. And I do apologize for the people that this time is inconvenient for. Maybe you're at work, maybe you're in class, maybe you're asleep, maybe it's 3 a.m. for you. I apologize. I'm doing the best I can to make it as appealing and accessible to the majority of the people. That's it. That's it for the news. Music, shows, merch, streams. It is Wednesday, which means I'm going to be working for most of the day and going over that music book that I got. The funny thing about that music book is I feel like I'm learning a lot of stuff that doesn't really apply to me and my music creation, but I'm trying to go in it with an open mind. I'm trying to keep the approach that all information can be useful, even if you can't really see where it should be applied. I think there's a lot of arrogance and closed-mindedness in looking at some information and saying, that won't be important to me ever in my life. This is stupid. I don't need this. We don't have time to learn everything, right? We can't learn every language. We can't learn every skill. I've had to give up on a lot of things that I wanted to know how to do. Because I thought, I just made the judgment call that it wouldn't be useful to me. But maybe it would have. Maybe it would have been useful for me to get better at skateboarding and keep that skill. But I feel like since I do make music, kind of shutting myself off to any information on music is kind of arrogant So I'm trying to go into it with that mindset. So wish me luck, everybody, I guess. This song is called Hush Hour. Thanks, Leanna. Thank you, everybody, for being respectful to me and polite to each other. It matters a lot. I feel like you guys are closer friends than I am with some of my own friends. You guys somehow can carry on a conversation with each other, which is wild. It would be cool if everybody from the stream got to meet one day. Wishful thinking, huh? But anyways, thank you for being respectful and polite to each other, and always thank you for joining the stream. I will see you guys tomorrow. With any luck, I will be streaming tomorrow. It is a weekday. It's Thursday stream. But if I don't see you, please enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend. Hobble, everybody.